The next concept I'm going to teach you about is taking money off the table. Now, if you're going to stick to a very disciplined approach of rebalancing your portfolio so that, if let's say you have, 3 index funds or 5 index funds, so as the ones go up, you sell some and put in the ones that went down. If you're doing that, then you don't really need this advice. But what I learned, and I learned this only from billionaires who taught this to me, is you take money off the table. I'll tell you a little story. During the late 90s, I bought a stock for like $2 a share, $1, I made $1 a share. Actually, at times I bought it for whatever it was. And it was the internet stock and a technology stock. And the NASDAQ was going up like crazy. The internet was new. Every technology company going up, 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 up. And this stock went up to about $50 a share. And at that point, I could have sold it. I would have had $500,000. And I was thinking, you know what? I really can't retire on $500,000. I have a wife, I have children, I have expenses. I would certainly try to get another job if I lost my job. But let's hang on. Everyone, this technology thing is going crazy. It's the future of the economy. It's the future of the world. Let's just hang on. If this goes up to $2 million and I sell it, I have the kind of money that I could retire on. Don't you know, it eventually went out of business. And it goes down from $50 to $25 to 20 and 15. And I bought more at 18 and went down. And I thought, I'm going to buy more at 13, bought more. And it went down to like 25 cents and 10 cents. And then it went out of business. So the principle is you take money off the table. So, and this is, I tell you, I just advised a friend of mine who was in Bitcoin. Actually, it was not Bitcoin. It was another one of the cryptocurrencies. And he said, it's gone up massively, he said, and I'm not sure what to do. So I told him, I said, look, I think these cryptocurrencies, most of them are bubbles. I think they're going to crash and be almost worthless at some point. But what I told him was, but I don't know what's going to happen. So what you do is you sell a third of it. Sell a third of it, take a third off the table, which also means all the money you initially invested, you got that back, plus you got profit, and let the other 2/3 ride if you want to. And that's what he did. He thanked me and he did that, and he said he felt comfortable with it. 2 weeks later, the cryptocurrencies crashed. Bitcoin lost about half its value. One of my sons was saying to me, because Abba is the Hebrew word for daddy. He said, Abba, you should have done your video when you said you're going to do it before the crash. You would have looked like a hero. Okay, what can I do? I was busy. I actually got sick a little at a holiday, and here we are. But the point is, if you invest in something and it's going wildly upward and you just don't know, you hang on, don't hang on. So sell a third or sell a half. A friend of mine who's wealthy said, no one ever went broke taking a profit. You hear that? If you take profit, you don't go broke taking a profit. You go broke taking a loss. So you sell pieces along the way is very, very important. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before I get into Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, crypto they call it, is you cannot be lured by the stories of people who got phenomenally wealthy hitting on one stock. During the dot-com era, before the technology, NASDAQ crashed. It was crazy. There were trillions of dollars of quote-unquote wealth wiped out. Again, as I told you, there was no wealth wiped out. Until someone sold the stock, they haven't made any money on it. But you hear stories. This guy, I remember some guy, he invested in Yahoo, the internet service provider. He invested in, or the portal. He invested in Yahoo. This goes back to in 1998, 1999, and he made $1 million, $5 million. This guy invested in crypto. He's making all this kind of money. You want to do it too. Tune that stuff out. Many of these people, number one, it's not even true. And if it is true, they got lucky. If someone goes to a gambling casino and they put money on a number on the roulette wheel and they hit, wonderful. That means that you can go do it? No. The odds are stacked way, way against you. Don't believe stories. It's actually a fundamental principle of medicine. Medicine, I'm a medical doctor. In medical science, we do not accept stories. They're called anecdotes. Someone says, oh, I took this drug, I felt so much better. Maybe the guy was going to get better anyway. Maybe he actually didn't really have the disease. Maybe we didn't really take that drug. Maybe something else he took also worked. That's why I do scientific studies. 500 people take the drug, 500 people don't. Nobody knows who got the drug or not because each one is coded. The doctors measure the symptoms and the adverse reactions, the responses, and then at the end you can do statistical information, statistical analysis to know if this is a real, what the likelihood is that this is a real result or just by chance. But you never take a story as proof. So don't be drawn in by the guys, oh, I did this, I did, I made all this money, I'm rocking and rolling. Don't believe it. You know what I call it? I've always called it the gambler's mentality. If you ever speak to a gambler, they'll tell you, he went to the racetrack and he put this many dollars on this horse, and now he made, $25,000. And you only hear from gamblers all of these successes, they made all this money. How come they can't pay their mortgage? How come they're broke? I call it the gambler's mentality. It's a sickness. Don't be drawn in by it. The safe, real investing is the way to make money long-term in investing. The short-term stuff, you stand a big chance of losing all your money. Now let's get into Bitcoin in particular and cryptocurrency in general. There are basically three uses for Bitcoin. One is if you're in the market for a rocket-propelled grenade, you want to buy some fentanyl, you want to get yourself, hire an assassin. People use that for Bitcoin for those transactions. Personally, I'm not in the market for any of that stuff, and I hope that you're not either. The other reason is tax evasion. People are trying to make money on Bitcoin, and then they'll eventually be able to sell it, and the IRS won't know about it. That way they can evade taxes. Or they use their money to buy Bitcoin, then they use Bitcoin to buy services or goods from a fake company they set up, and that way they can launder their money. Hopefully, you're not doing that either. I would never dream of such a thing. I pay my taxes. I pay a lot of taxes. But you know what? The good news about paying taxes is if you're paying taxes, it's because you're making money. So if you want the alternative, that's worse. It's better to pay taxes. The third reason or use of Bitcoin is as an investment tool. You're buying these Bitcoins, or you're buying through an exchange and hoping and trusting that they're holding your Bitcoin and not just ripping you off, which has happened recently. Some guys opened up a new cryptocurrency exchange. People saw what happened with Bitcoin. People made all this money, and now they want to go, jump on and buy this new coin. And the guys just stole the $24 million, disappeared. They made a video on the internet laughing about it. There's nothing you can do about it. They've got your money and they're gone. So this third option is to buy Bitcoin as an investment. Someone spoke to me recently, 20-something-year-old boy, young man, and he said, I know that Bitcoin is safe because everyone's buying it. Everyone I speak to, everyone's buying it. It's safe. There's an expression, a new sucker is born every day. He gave me a new understanding of that expression. A new sucker is born every day because people who are born, if they don't study history, they don't know the history of how things unfold. The idea that everyone is buying it so it's safe, that's exactly the sign that it's not safe. One of the greatest investors of all time said that he knows a bubble, an internet bubble or a stock bubble is about to burst when his barber tells him his barber is buying it. When what is the worth of anything, right? I say, what is the worth of gold? You can't eat it. You can't put it in your gas tank and drive with it. You're not going to take gold and build a house out of it unless you're crazy and a gazillionaire. So gold is only worth what someone else will pay for it. Now, interesting about gold is gold has a major value because there are many cultures that value gold culturally. They make jewelry out of it. It's beautiful. It's also used in the electronics industry. So there is some use for gold. So when we're talking about Bitcoin, though, Bitcoin is only what the price is. If it's $50,000 a coin, that's what it's worth. If it's 2 cents a coin, that's what it's worth. What's driving the price up? The only thing driving the price up is people buying it. That is the the number one signal for a bubble that's about to burst. When everyone's buying it, every 20-year-old is buying it, the barber's buying it. When all this hype is going on, that's a sign that that's a bubble about to burst. That's why I was going to make this video before Bitcoin lost half its value. Unfortunately, now I'm going to tell you, you can't trust me that what I'm saying is legitimate, because maybe I'm just making it up after the fact. It's only when people tell you something in a recorded, documented way that they can't change before something happens, and then it happens, that's a sign that they're legitimate. But if they do it, they have to do it again and again and again. You say, "Well, I've just gotten lucky." But this is a sign of a bubble that's going to burst, which is everyone and everyone and their grandmothers buying it up. That's a bad sign that it's about to lose value. And this bubble, we've seen, those of us who've been watching it for watching the market and investing for decades, and you can go back in history. It goes back actually to the original was in Holland, going back many hundreds of years ago. They had these tulips all of a sudden started coming out with interesting stripes, and the price of those bulbs, these brand new interesting striped tulips, started getting bid up and up and up, and it became that the value of an entire house would be for one tulip bulb. And then it crashed because it turns out it was just a virus. It wasn't even like new strains. It was a virus infecting the tulips that caused these deformities in the color. But it just crashed. But that's how these bubbles go. Now, if you can get in on a bubble early on, and you take my advice and you sell pieces along the way, you can make money. But if you get in at the top, when everyone's saying it's going to the moon, that's another thing, by the way, another really good sign that's a bubble about to burst is you'll have analysts, putting out articles saying one outrageous price target after another. Bitcoin's going to, when it's at 10,000, it's going to 50,000. 50,000 is going to 1 million. It's going to 10 million. If you're this sucker that believes that, you're in deep trouble, deep danger of getting smashed when this thing comes crashing down. When that starts happening, that's when you know, this might be a bubble. In terms of these analysts that will tell you how high the thing is going to go, many times these people are pump and dump also. It's called pump and dump. They pump up the stock, which they already own at a lower price, and they try to get more and more people to buy it and drive the price up, and then they dump their stock before you do. So when people start hitting you with this incredible enthusiasm and the predictions and make you feel dumb, you're going to lose out, think how dumb you're going to look when everybody else spent all this money, and just be careful. That's characteristic of a pump and dump, and you can lose all of your money on that. Now here's my own observation about Bitcoin. I've not heard this anywhere, but this is also one of the most critical pieces to it. What is a dollar worth? A dollar, United States $1 bill, is worth the amount of goods that one can buy with it. Now here's the thing. Who protects a dollar? Who protects the dollar from someone just printing up another $5 trillion of dollars? Well, that's the Treasury Department, the CIA, the NSA, the Secret Service. They're all involved. The U.S. military, they're involved in protecting the dollar. The FBI, catching counterfeiters here in the United States, overseas, different organizations. You have the might of the military or violent capability of the United States of America protecting its currency. And you have controls, even though the Fed is printing them now, and the government this administration is just giving away money like water, and it's going to now it looks like it's going to cause inflation. We've seen it already. Whether it will sustain or not, that I don't know. But they're diluting it by 5%. But you have that full weight of the United States government protecting their money. Who's protecting Bitcoin? Oh, the blockchain. Oh, the blockchain. How many of you even know what the blockchain is? How many of you even know how Bitcoin, the number of transactions it can do each day, is very, very limited? How many of you are computer programmers who understand what the blockchain computer code is? Almost none of you, or maybe none of you. And I want to tell you something. The security that worked on the internet to keep viruses off in the year 2000 or the year 2005 don't work now. The people that keep trying to develop new viruses, new ways of hacking into systems, and they get around those old. You need those old technologies. You have to always be updating it. Who's protecting Bitcoin? How much money are they spending on protecting Bitcoin? How many people do you think out there, computer programmers, are trying to figure out a way around the blockchain? You don't know how good the blockchain is. And don't tell me this blockchain that is not being massively protected and updated, but is the target of computer programmers and governments around the world who are trying to break into the blockchain and to fraudulently make Bitcoin and sell it and make their billions of dollars. They're out there. You know that. So don't tell me blockchain technology is protecting it. It's not. It may protect it for now. We say, oh, well, there are companies, big companies, accepting Bitcoin now. That is, without my researching those individual companies, I can already tell you what goes on. You go check it and you tell me if I'm wrong. I know that I'm not. They're accepting Bitcoin to buy things, and they are on that instant selling that Bitcoin to dollars. If they wanted to have Bitcoin and hold on to Bitcoin as a corporation, they would have invested in Bitcoin. They're not doing that. They're taking the Bitcoin and they're converting it immediately into dollars. They're not taking that risk. This is a nothing. This is a no proof or security whatsoever. So now I want to ask you something. What happens if you have Bitcoin and maybe it's worth $300,000, $1 million, $5 million. You invested very little, it's worth all this money. What happens if the headlines hit tomorrow, whether they're true or not? Bitcoin code cracked. Bitcoin counterfeits successful. What do you think the value of that Bitcoin is going to be 2 minutes later? Zero. That's why I said to you, if you've made a lot of money, meaning you haven't made it until you've sold it. Remember that. Till you sell it, you haven't made any money. If the value of selling it is very high, you should be selling a third of it, a half of it, taking some of the money off the table. You can let the rest ride. So now you might say, well, actually, there are major governments, China, United States, and others, that are considering forming their own cryptocurrency. Yes, but they're going to have the full military, intellectual, and economic power of their country defending that cryptocurrency that they developed. They're always going to be searching for hackers and attempts to hack, and they'll be infiltrating people who are trying to figure ways around. Let's say they find somebody's trying to. You say, well, there's a register on 1 million computers all around the world of all the Bitcoin transactions. Okay, so some smart guy is going to figure out a way to crack in, put a new register on all those million computers, all the blockchain all around the world, and not tell anybody until the second that they activate their fraudulent Bitcoin counterfeit, and they do it all at once. So that a big government is working on their own cryptocurrency, that they're going to defend it with all the might of their country, has nothing to do with the risk that you're taking on Bitcoin, where there's like a couple guys in charge, and there's no money behind it to protect it. So the bottom line is, in terms of cryptocurrency, if your investment is going way up, even if it's crashed down half, what you should be doing is you should be selling a portion of it into cash that you take off the table if you want the rest to ride. And by the way, if you have Bitcoin is up at $55,000, $60,000 a coin, and now it's down to $30,000 a coin, you say, whoa, I'm going to mortgage my house and buy more. It's going back up to $60,000. So many people have lost their money that way on these volatile, crazy investments. If you're doing that with a Dow Jones Industrial Average, so you're doing that with huge multi-billion or trillion-dollar corporations that have each of them have 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 employees. They're manufacturing, creating things all the time. Then they go down. Well, now you're buying into the whole American society and the ability of America to come back. But if you're buying this cryptocurrency that is this electronic program out there in the Ethernet somewhere, you're taking a major, major risk. Buying more, I remember during the internet crash, it didn't all crash at once. It went down in stages. Boom, came up, and it goes up again. By the way, when it comes down, loses half its value, then it peaks up again, another 5, 10%. Goes a while, then boom, goes down another 30%. Remember, some woman on the internet was saying, I'm using this as an opportunity. She's typing as an opportunity to buy a basket of these stocks. They all went to zero because there's nothing behind them. Because in those days, most of these internet companies, didn't even have any sales. They didn't even have a product yet. They said, we're going to make a product. It's going to do this. And people investing, then they went out of business. So with cryptocurrencies, you're taking a massive risk. Take some money off the table. Like I said, everything I said in this video, it's my opinion. You take your own risks, but no one ever went broke taking a profit. And in terms of the other things I said throughout about investing, I wish you success in your investing. The turtle and the hare parable is the one that really wins. It's the one that slowly does the right thing and keeps moving forward. The one that thinks he's going to jump to wealth, almost every single one of them lose their money. So anyway, be well. You should be blessed, and you should be successful in all good things. Please hit the subscribe button, and please list comments. By the way, if there are other business topics, any other topics, science, medicine, business, politics, I've been involved in them all for a long, long time. Please just leave them in the comments. I try to respond to all comments, and I'll, if you have topics you want me to discuss, I'll seriously consider them for future videos. Thank you for watching.